Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us and welcome to the Friday's episode of Shagalinko TV. It's a beautiful weekend and a Friday for that matter. Like people will say, thank God it's Friday. But for some of us, we work all through the week, Monday to Sunday, just like my guests are also working through the week and all of that. My name is Ambassador Emmanuel Gabari and welcome to today's episode of the show. So, for those of you who've seen the flyers, we're looking at stigma generally holistic approach to stigma, whether it's at workplace, whether it's stigma of status. On this show, we've had senior brothers or senior sisters come to tell us here on the show that they face a lot of stigma because of wealth or class issue. So in a family, if you don't have money, you become the junior brother of the home or junior sister of the home. So they tell you, hold on, let the person who can talk, who has sense, let him come and talk in the meeting. So even when you are the eldest, they tell you to hold on because maybe your younger brother or younger sister has more money than you. And then whatever he or she says is law in the family. So stigma is not just within the society or from government to its citizens, but also even within the family space, there's a whole lot of stigma. I wouldn't even want to go into the one where people with disabilities, people with low income face, even in religious spaces, we find where people who have more money are given the front row to sit, leaving those who are very committed but they don't have money and all of that. I won't also want to come into what happens in the health sector. We've had instances where even medical personnel stigmatize their patients. Let's even not go into neighborhood, where if you drive a bigger car, you get hailed. If you jump from one keke or kada to another, you are stigmatized and they tell you. And even in the workspace, particularly in the NGO space, they mock people and tell you, you wait on they do activism work for 10 years. How many funds or grants you don't get? You just did there, they speak English. So this stigma thing, if we look at it, not finish it forever. But that's why we're bringing our two guests here to talk about this for us. And we're also asking you to join us. You can drop your comments in the comment section. Tell us what you think about stigma. If you've gone through stigma, let us know and how you've dealt with it. I have Mrs. Ngozi Nwosu-Juba. I always call her Antingo, and everyone in the human rights space call her Antingo. She's a human rights activist and also the programs director of Vision Spring Initiative Lagos. But she travels around the world, so I wouldn't even know where she is right now. She'll tell us when she comes on the show. We also have Irorere, Peter Odion. He's also one of the vocal voices amongst people living with disabilities, and he's also with Excellent Improved Reach Out Initiative based in Plateau State. And together we'll be looking at stigma. One worrisome part why we're taking a look at it today is the celebrity lifestyle, which we have come to see are washing the media for a long time now. You find a lot of celebrities who die in abusive relationship. And then when they die, people come out and say, oh, they told me they do this. Just when we thought Osinachi's case was the last we're going to hear of celebrity gender-based violence issues or deaths, many more are coming up. Bimbo just happened last week and all of that. And that was why we said, okay, let's even bring our guests to talk about these issues. So I'll bring Ngozi for us first, and then she'll tell us more what she thinks about this issue of stigma. Antingo, you might need to clarify what stigma means. But first of all, let me ask our viewers who are watching you for the first time, who is Ngozi Nwosu-Juba? What do you do? Where are you presently? You know your own Ajala travel, pass everybody you own. So take a minute or two to tell us more about yourself before we talk about this topic.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Gambari, for having me on the show. Good morning, Nigerians. My name is Ngozi Nwosu-Juba. As I have been introduced, I am a human rights activist. I work with Vision Spring Initiatives. It's a non-governmental organization that works in Nigeria, but we are based in Lagos, and we work mostly for the protection and promotion of the rights of women and girls in Nigeria. I am in Abuja, where I am participating in a training with training law enforcement officers on issues of rights and then how to respect rights of especially vulnerable Nigerians. And I'm glad to be here.
Thank you so much, Antengo. So before I bring in Peter, I'd like you to say a little more about what stigma means to us, because people don't even see that there are minute stigma that we do to people and we don't know. People don't also see that they take in a lot of abuse or stigma that they also don't know they are taking. So for a layman, what do you think is stigma? And for someone who's been working in the gender space, you do a whole lot on sexual reproductive health and rights, you do a whole lot on gender-based violence. You're even currently training people to talk about safeguarding marginalized people. What is stigma that people should know about, Antingo?
Okay, thank you very much. And as you said in the opening, stigma is a situation where people are not accorded all the respect that should be accorded to them based on society's understanding and explanation of what success is. And so, for instance, it happens even in schools. You go to schools where some children look at themselves or feel that they can afford some certain snacks and other children cannot afford it. They stay away from them, and then before you know it, they form clique. And you see those children who probably cannot afford those things other students have. You see them shrink or begin to have low self-esteem. So it starts as early as even in the educational systems in schools. It starts also even in workplaces. I know I've worked in an organization where we have some staff members whose fathers are highly placed, like commissioner's child and all that. And you find that they also have within the organization, they have cliques. So when we are going for lunch, you see those ones those people that their parents are highly placed, they move in groups. While the other people either bring their food, maybe rice or whatever they can cook, eat at one corner and wish that they belong to the other group. At the level of my work in society, the another form of stigma, which is that, class thing where we feel that some people are inadequate, is within marriages, within how our culture and the norms and the things that we expect from people. So, for instance, I'm a woman from Abia State, an Igbo woman. In some communities, if at a certain age you are not married, and I'm not even, why am I speaking about my community? I can even speak about myself. I remember working in an organization and I have a colleague who was married. She was maybe 29, 28, and I was within that age range also, or even, no, I think she was 27 and married, and I was also like either 26 or so. Each time we had conversation and it gets to issue of marriage and I want to speak, then goes, wait, you never married, So it's like I don't fit in to have that kind of conversation. But the thing is, people do not understand the depth of stigma. Yeah, it takes someone who has been exposed to trainings and opportunities and a lot of readings and all that to overcome stigma. And so those days she used to say to me, Ngozi, wait, at times, Ngozi, no go marry. This place, now people will marry, they talk. At times in my small corner, I think about it and I smile and I'm like, you really do not understand life. But I know that some other people, it would have a higher impact on them. And then also, I remember a friend of mine, as an organization also, had a friend who had a baby and she didn't have a baby. And this girl kept reminding her of the fact that she's married and she still doesn't have a baby. I remember one day coming to visit her and they were involved in a physical fight in the office. What was the issue? That she told her that she should try harder to have child. If you don't have child in a marriage, it's problematic and things like that. And so stigma is that thing that society, places, a kind of burden that society places on people that make them feel that they are inadequate, they are unequal to others. And we also find them in health facilities, where some people, depending on who you are, you can walk into a health facility and people respond to you immediately. And then if you are perceived as someone who is not really up there, you can be made to sit at one corner till very important people are responded to. So stigma is like something I can describe as a cankerworm that's eating into the very fabrics of Nigeria. And of course, I'm sure it's not only Nigeria, and is affecting us individuals negatively.
Wow. Thank you so much for that. So let me bring in Peter. And this is to also say that the comment section is open. Do drop your comment on what you think about stigma. Why are we stigmatizing single mothers, older singles, divorced people? Stigma generally, let us know your view. You need to give us approval for your comments to show on the screen. Some people just type their comments and then post. If you don't give approval, it won't pop up on the screen. So when you give approval, it pops up on the screen, then we can read. If you have questions for our guests, Antingo and Peter, please do also drop your comments there. Tell us more about stigma, and we'll take it up from there. So let me bring in Peter, and I'd like him to talk about this also from the angle of someone living with disability and some of the challenges you've also faced when it comes to all of that. So, Peter, I'd like to hear from you. How has it been for you growing up? And even now, I know a lot of work still needs to be done to boost the morals of people living with disabilities. Government is also trying in a few interventions here and there. But how has it been for you as a person living with disability and then facing stigma every time and every day of your life?
Good morning,
Yes,
Nigeria.
yeah.
Good morning, Gabari. Thank you for having me on this show. I'll first want to appreciate Auntie Ngozi. It's a privilege to be on the show with her. Auntie Ngozi is our mother, like Iman said. She has mentored many of us. So one of our success will not be complete without according Auntie Ngozi. Now, just to say that stigma, like we all know, is a continuous process. I say it's a continuous process because stigmas evolve from one space to another, ranging from marriages to home, workspace, and even in churches. Now, back to somebody living, as a person living with disability, what has stigma been like even growing up? Now, growing up like as a child, when I'm maybe then when I'm walking on the road, something will just strike me to look at the back. I'll see somebody mimicking me, trying to uh, uh, like act like the way I walk and all of that. And to me, that actually got deep into me. Sometimes I go home crying. Sometimes I consider, I know on TV occasions, I consider suicidal. I just felt that the society made me feel that I am quite different from every other human. When I go to school, when I went to a boarding school, so when the boys maybe school students are clearing, they will separate me. No, go and join the girls to mop. Go and join the girls to mop. You are not fit to hold cutlass. And for me, that goes a long way to say, oh, I am not like other human beings. I swing into depression. I wasn't myself. I wasn't doing well in school any longer. So this all of these tolls took a lot on me, not until I started reading books, I started making friends. Then I was exposed to, yes, my mom exposed me early to like whatever you want, I can afford it. So I was a bit comfortable, but I wasn't happy because I was trying to buy friendship with money, trying to make you my friend. I wanted to be my genuine friend because I'll take care of you. Because I was going through the worst part of stigma. If I'm in a group, I leave, maybe I start here dropping different types of talk and all of that. So growing up as somebody living with disability wasn't easy for me. I was faced with different forms of stigma in churches, in schools, and of course amongst my peer group. So that now translates me to be like trying to learn new things. When I mean new things, I am actually a very outgoing type, but because of the stigma I faced growing up, I started going into my shares. I trying to run from people. When I'm going for events, I just try to dress to impress people to say, okay, because I am disabled or I'm living with disability, I need to come up to be the best so that people will like me, so that I will grow friends. I was not living my truth. You get it? So in 2011, when I joined the NGO space, I started meeting friends, and I met a friend in Asaba then years back. And he told me, I told him I just got a job. He said, okay, how was it? They said I went for a training. The training was like I didn't expect seeing myself in that space. He said, okay, what happened after that? I said I went for the first day I went to work, I went to supervise people, like trying to see what they do in the field and all. And somebody made a statement. He said, what was the statement? I said, the person said, they don't work out finish for the whole of Benin. They don't see who they'll come make leader of us. That this disabled boy, they can't see make a leaders. He said, the guy said it. I said, yes, he said it to my ear, but not to my face. And that affected me. My friend just started laughing. He said, I said, why are you laughing? I'm telling you somebody stigmatized me and you're laughing. He said, yes, that the reason he's laughing is because there is more to this job. That if somebody can say that to you, it means that the person has seen what you cannot see in yourself. And that alone broke the whole of stuff. Since that day, I started trying, I became me. I personalized my happiness. I want to be myself. I'm not, I started caring less about what people say. So what one of the ways I was able to handle stigma was I started identifying good friendship. I started understanding that even if you are disabled or you're not disabled, everybody cannot be your friends. So that's that.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Peter. So I'll come back to you, Antingo. Let's even talk about stigma when it comes to women, because women face a lot of these as well. You rightly said, even in the workspace, for women who are not married, and then the ones who are married, automatically, married women have this air around them that single girls don't have a say over anything. But let me quickly just read some of this message here, and then I'll come back to you, Antungov, to talk about stigma that women face. Leroy Fraser from the United States of America dropped a comment yesterday on our Facebook page and said, I am 70 years old and live in the USA. I have been divorced for 17 years. I have adjusted living alone now. And then Osita Ozonnaji from Enugu, no, from Abia says, stigmatization destroys self-esteem and self-confidence in persons affected. It hampers the positive development and adjustment of individuals that may have been limited by situations that they had no control over. Stigma is bad. Thank you so much, Osita from Abia State. So let me bring you Antingo. We talk about a lot of stigma, but recently I'm worried about the ones with celebrities. You know, they post a lot of pictures, family life, living la voga, be living la vida, and all of that. And so it's strange when many years later or many months later you hear these women going through abuses, and even the men go through some of these things. Could it be that they would have felt that, okay, how would people stigmatize them when they have posted all of this and say family is key, family is this? And you know, a lot of some of this social media thing is to spite others. They're going to do pepper them, give them to them, kill them, and all of that. So they now be wondering later that the people you say you are killing, how will you come out there and say your husband is killing you or your wife is killing you? They will not sit there and mock you very well. So where is the place of women when it comes to stigma?
Okay, thank you very much, Gambari, and thank you, Peter, for sharing your story. You know, I just hope that you know that you are not alone, and we do love you. You know, with or without disabilities, and you must know that you're a very strong person. So, women are stigmatized, and I like what some of the comments that you read. Women who are divorced are stigmatized. Women who are unmarried are stigmatized. Women who get married and they don't have children are stigmatized. Women who have children but girls and don't have boys are stigmatized. Women who do not have jobs are stigmatized. In politics and leadership, women are stigmatized. It's a whole lot. Yesterday, I sat with a woman who shared her stories, how during politics, women work so hard and then men come to them and say, step down, you are a woman. You know, it's a lot happening with women, you know, and a lot of stories that we do not hear. So with regards to women and men who are, you know, in the entertainment industry, we must know that it's not actually only with them that violence happens, or abuse, or stigma and all that. It happens with all of us. But the thing is that some of us do not have the space, to share our stories. Yeah. So for them, while they are on social media, some of them, that's actually how they market themselves. It's on social media that people see them, see their work, they gain acceptability, and so they do what they do, which is fine. The challenge then is that when something goes wrong, we get to hear, we can hear about Osinachi, but I must tell you that even between the time that Osinachi has killed and died, and the time that Bimbo died, some other families, even poorer families, probably would have lost maybe 5 or 6 women. The only difference is that we do not get to hear them. Before the advent of social media, women used to die, and then we are told that the woman died of cancer, the woman died of pain, the woman fell from stairs when she was walking the steps, she was carrying water, the woman was doing this and she died. There has always been women who, in abusive relationships, have been allegedly murdered by their partners, and not just women, also men. The reason we are hearing all of this is the advent of social media and awareness that is being created by civil society organizations. And so for the faces that we see on social media, it's unfortunate that we see those lovely pictures, and then we turn around and then next time we hear that they are dead. And the unfortunate thing also is that some of them actually do reach out. They reach out to civil society organizations, or they reach out to their friends, and then their friends tell them, this is what to do. But as we know, because of also society's expectation of us, that, if you are in a marriage and the partner, or maybe the man, is economically buoyant, then you are expected to endure anything that happens. Yeah. So you find these women in those relationships that, to the point that even when they are asked to leave, it's difficult to leave because they have gotten used to this type of lifestyle. And for us who are not there, like rich that are managing kind of, there are women who we have spoken to. I remember that 2 years ago, I spoke to a young woman who didn't have a job, but she was in a very abusive relationship. Last year, we had to bury her. This year, we had to bury her in March, allegedly beaten badly. We had to, even my organization had to insist on an autopsy, and then we did that, and then they said, she was having early cancer and all kinds of things. But she had history of being beaten, her head broken and all that. Why didn't she leave? She didn't have a backup or life. Her mother was a poor woman in Abia State who couldn't support her. Each time she went back to the mother would say, "Oh, go, things will improve." And so you find that society, the powers we've given to marriages and childbearing and finances has made it difficult, for people to come out of abusive relationships. And when you come out also, people abuse you. You are stigmatized. If Bimbo had come out, you will find people who will say to her, "But you could have endured. What are you looking for? You have 4 children, you have 5 children. Why couldn't you endure? So the stigma is all over. You stay, you can stay to your detriment. You come out, society will never understand why you came out. So I was reading through the comments when Bimbo died. People were like, "Oh, you should have actually come out." Some people who came out of abusive relationships and were being abused were saying, "Oh, now you can say we can come out. But when I came out, you stigmatized me, you abused me, you said I could have endured because I have children." So we really do not know what society wants from us humans. But mine, for my part, is you should really, like Peter has said, you really have to love yourself. You really have to take your life into your hands and decide that nobody will decide for you when and how you should live and how you should be happy. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Antengo. I will come back to Peter now and ask just a rider to what Antengo has said, that it's really worrisome because you hear people tell you that, why didn't you leave an abusive relationship? You come out, or abusive marriage, you come out, any little thing you do in a space, they tell you, no wonder your husband no fit keep you for house, or no wonder your wife run leave you now. See am now, see your character. So this stigma doesn't even end. But this is to say thank you to Asia. We got words that you're listening to us from Germany. Thank you so much. And also to Gift Nathaniel, all the way from Kaduna. you sent us a message that you're watching us also. Thank you so much for joining us. Yeah. So for those of you watching, you can still send a message and do like all our social media handles, Shagalinko TV on Facebook, Shagalinko TV on YouTube, and all the other handles. Remember to also like our YouTube page and click on the notification button so that whenever we go live, you can be part of the program or you'll be notified. So I'll come to Peter right now. And yes, you can also send a message in the comment section. We will read them, either a question for our guests or a comment you want to share about stigma, and then we will read them. So let me bring in Peter and let's talk a little more about all of this. So where's the place where can people now say enough is enough? Because like Antingo said, it's a dicey one. We keep telling people, nobody's asking you to leave your marriage, but there's place for separation. There's place for both partners to go their ways a little, hang on a little, work things out separately. If they still feel like coming back again, fine. But we have situations where parents will tell you, even on the wedding day, in this family, oh, once you don't go marry, oh, we no get your space for this house again, no bed, no deal. You know, the mothers are also even guilty of this. They tell you, I've been with your father for 10 years, you know, for 20 years or for 30 years. No be you go disgrace our family. So these things also fuel where men could abuse their wives, knowing that they don't have anywhere to go. So Peter, when is the right time for someone to tell him or herself that, look, this beat, because I still ask, this body way that they beat, I think not be the same body way we get, because it a pain, you know. So I wonder how people still stay up until the point where they die. Peter, what do you have to say?
Okay, thank you very much. Like, when the flight of this program came, and I know I posted something that has to do with the death of Bimbo. So somebody reached out to me this early morning. I'm currently in Lagos also for a program, and the person said he got talking with his mother and told his mother, they were just talking normal random, and the mother now asked, "How is your wife?" It was like, she should be fine. I don't know. It was like, that call is still there, Grant. Remember, your brother, the wife not there again. No, we're trying to patch up this problem. Now you're old. God forbid, oh, I don't want issues. Oh, that's a bad omen people are trying to bring. I will not take it. So you understand all of this. Now the society has turned it to say, because maybe you have somebody, a direct siblings, a cousin, or your mother or your father could not stay in marriage, and you're having same issues, you need to remain in such marriage. Like I tell people, when I got married newly, I like sharing my personal experience. When I got married 2 years ago, I told my wife one thing on my wedding day. I said, forever in this marriage is not guaranteed. And she was like, why? I said, yes. It's okay for people to fall in love, and it's also okay for people to fall out of love. When you are tired of this marriage and you feel that you want to go at any point, it's not a subject of discussion. The day I met the woman I got married to, I did not meet her as a group. I didn't go there to say, I didn't go to woo her as a group that this is the woman who come and help me to start. No, it didn't work like that. It was a personal decision. And of course, I believe that is the same thing for so many families. So if the marriage is not working, it's become so toxic. I hear people say, I need to stay in this marriage because of my children. But the implication of staying in this marriage because of my children is one. If eventually the man kills the wife will be dead. The man will be faced the man will face maybe life imprisonment. So it means that the children are now orphaned. So the children you want to stay in the marriage for are now made to suffer. Of course, our parents should get their children. For the fact that you were able to endure your husband for 80 years does not mean that your children should be able to endure their same toxic marriage for 50 years. Growing up as a child, many of us saw marriages, and we were like, if this is what marriage is, we are not going to get married. But of course, maybe if we decide to get married and it's not working today, religious leaders should not make us confront to the fact that we must die in marriage. Today, people don't want to speak up because if as a Christian or as a church worker, if I divorce my wife or if I live separate with my wife, I will be subject of discussion in church. It ought not to be like that. Of course, we agree that life already is toxic, and marriage ought not also be toxic. If marriage is toxic, you walk away. I tell people it's okay to cooperate. I've had people who live separate with their partner, but they cooperate. When it has to do with issue of their children, they come together. Oh, madam, your son needs to do this, needs to do that. What do you think? Fine. Like Gabari said, if at the long run you're also single, you have gone. The man has gone to heal himself. The woman has gone to heal herself. You still desire to come back. It's fine. It's totally not out of place. But at that point, when you feel that you cannot endure any longer, marriage in the first place ought not to be. Not you don't need to live in marriage in endurance. Marriage needs to be enjoyed. But when it's the other way around, you walk away. So I think the question you're asking is a bit dicey. There is no proper time to walk away. When you get to your limit, it's good to walk away. For me, I don't advocate for people to divorce, but if it's not working, what do you do? I had a discussion with a friend, and the person was telling me that I need to look for the person my wife respects to do this. No. If the woman respects the person and the person talks to her and she stays in that marriage, she's enjoying the marriage. She has fallen out of love. And when there is no love, it's bitterness. And what is marriage with bitterness? So viewers, you don't need like I tell people, sorry, there is no marriage in heaven. The marriage we are getting married to is here. Jesus is the only groom. All of us are going to get married maybe afterwards, as the way it is in Christian faith. But however, our parents, our society, our religious leader needs to step up their game. You don't need to force somebody to stay in an abusive marriage. And of course, many people want to leave, but what would the society do? Imagine if the Sonashi has left her abusive marriage, they will not call her again for program. I could imagine somebody like Osinachi that sings and people cry, that sings and people try to reconnect themselves with God, and she now comes out tomorrow to tell you she's walking out of her marriage. In quotes, she's not a single mother or a divorcee. Nobody wants to call her in programs again. That is the society we have found ourselves. But it ought not to be so. How can you be married to a woman, the woman we abuse you in the morning, the man we abuse you in the evening, and you feel that you are doing the right thing? You know, the implication of what is going on now is that we are making a generation, we are creating a generation of toxic people. I was discussing with somebody, and he was like, when my wife is abusing me, she abused me in front of our children. So what mindset do you want to transform to those kids? So darlings, when marriage is not working, the best time for you to leave your marriage that is not working is today. You don't need to go and call a family meeting to separate from your family. That also brings me to say that every woman, every man, if you are working or you're into business, that the fact that you are married does not mean you should leave your business. That is very interesting to me, does not mean it will not get soured tomorrow. So at the time, I think one of the reasons why people tend to stay in abusive marriage or toxic marriage is because no financial power. If my cousin sister is the one assisting me in my home, and if I leave the marriage tomorrow and she's not in support of me leaving the marriage, Odion is my case. Where do I run to? But when I have the financial power, I can leave and I will take care of myself. So just to answer your question, the best time to leave a toxic marriage is today. The best time to leave a marriage that is not working is today. Don't wait for tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. So I'll come to Antingo. Antingo, we have a message here. I'd like you to read it if you can see it on the screen. This is from Gift Nathaniel in Kaduna. She's watching us all the way from Kaduna. Can you see this message, Antingo?
Yes, I can.
Okay, please read and then respond.
Okay, so she says, Gift says, this stigma issue is too much to handle, I tell you. Some people could be so annoying, I swear. How can you believe that a very close friend of mine got married and after some months she started giving attitude? I was like, girl, I don't understand you anymore. You don't change you. Could you believe that my friend opened her mouth to say that her husband asked her to stay away from all her unmarried friends? I was like, wow, really? This is someone we always do things together before we met her husband. I think that's, yeah. Okay, so gift, you are not alone in this story. I just shared my own personal experience of working in an organization where a
Yeah.
married woman felt I was not human enough because I wasn't married then. I also remember, the person I was her chief bridesmaid after they got married. One early morning, she and the husband woke up. In fact, they woke me up at 6 a.m. It was a Saturday. I like to lazy around on Saturdays because I don't go to work. And they came, and when I opened the door, I was even worried. I'm like, I hope you people are okay. They are like, we are okay. We came for you. I'm like, you want to take me out? They laughed. They said, no, we are worried about you. I said, what? What happened to me? I even thought I was sick or something, or something happened I didn't know. They said, you are a condition. We need you to get married. Let me just cut the story short. It's not about me. So, gift, we have people like that who think that getting married is a kind of, well, it's an achievement if you want it to see it like that, but it's not something that will make you then think that your other friends, you will not get married. It depends on also how you handle it. So when my own situation came up, I just told them to just don't worry about me and worry about themselves. I was cool. And then if marriage was an achievement, I'm now here married for 20 years. So I think that you just be yourself. If it's someone who can reason, you tell her that marriage should not stop your relationship. If she's someone who decides that she prefers to listen to her husband on the advice of staying away from unmarried women, well and good, you move on with your life. That's why it's also a challenge, because some of us who think that getting married is such a huge achievement will go there, no matter how you are beaten and battered, you come out giving the impression that all is well. You powder your face, you pretend you are happy, and then the next thing we are hearing obituary, unfortunately. So I think that people should really relax about these marriage issues, relax about life generally. Things that will happen would naturally happen. And then I'm not going to beg for a relationship from someone who has been advised by her partner to stay away from me. I'm sure there are other lovely people who would like to be your friend.
Wow, wow. So let me quickly ask you this as we wrap up, and then I'll come to Peter for his last words as well. So, where is the place for women? Because a lot of times I've also noticed on social media, and like you said, even men get abused, but we really don't hear of them. They don't talk about it often. It's even hard, even within the space where men sit, for a man to tell his fellow friend that my wife slapped me yesterday. The men will gather him and say, you sure say you know be woman rapper? So why it's possible for women to always be able to speak out is because they also create that enabling environment. There's this sisterhood for women to speak out, to cry. A lady will see her friend and tell her, babes, something they do you. Even when she says, no, I'm fine, she puts pancake and all of that. A lady will still tell her friend, babes, I know you well, oh, something they go wrong. Is there something you want to tell me? She keeps pushing and pushing until her friend will break down and tell her. But it's not the same with men. Even when a man summons that courage when they are drinking or hanging out and he says it, even when a man goes to his father and says, daddy, my wife, they abuse me. The father will even clamp on him before he finishes it and say, I didn't give birth to a weakling. Are you a woman rapper? Go and show her where you came from and all of that. So, and then it makes some women get away with even when they are the abusers. So how do we begin to also carry men along? Because we've had instances where, and I'm not justifying why men beat women, we've had instances where we bring these cases. You see a woman scream and shout that the man was always the one beating her. When we bring these two partners together to talk about these issues, you eventually find out that it's actually the woman who's been doing this. Sometimes the man will even say, when she starts this madness, I want to run out of the house and just go out for peace to reign. But she will run to the door, lock the door, put the key in her corset and say, you go kill me today here. So how do we also begin to empower men to speak out so that we can even know the truth of situations?
Okay, thank you very much. I think it's part of our socialization, unfortunately. We have been socialized to think that men are the powerhouses and women, are weaklings and they cannot do anything. And I do agree with you. I even have a case, that was reported to me while I was in Abuja, that I'll handle when we go back to Lagos, about a man who's crying out and saying, I am in this relationship with my wife many years. I've been faithful. This is what she's doing, even doing with a church member and all that. But I'm afraid to speak out. Yeah. But I think that men, it starts from homes, how we were raised. Women who, it's the responsibility of men and women to raise children. But most times we see that men leave this responsibility to women. And women on ourselves, we are not doing good job of raising our sons. What we do is tell them how powerful they are. And men also do that. Like you mentioned, it's men who will say to another man, you have to be strong, you cannot cry, you are a man, are you a weakling, are you this? And then this will make men think that they are not humans anymore, And so at times when I speak about issues of rape, men will cry out and say, I am raped, But men also need to speak out, because the reason that we work a lot with women is because we have loads and loads of women who speak out. There are loads and loads of research showing that women are abused. But if men don't speak, if we don't have that evidence, it will be difficult, to make interventions. But that does not mean that even a few comments that we receive, a few notifications we receive from men on abuse, that we do not tackle it. Men face abuse, women face abuse. In the cases of men, maybe in the families where a woman is cantankerous or beat and all that, you have a responsibility to report. And I know that if you told police, even if they laughed at you, eventually they will carry out investigation. It's not every time a woman runs to our organization to say that she's been beaten that we just jump and take action. We normally carry out investigations. We ask her, can we invite this? Because it's what the client wants that we do. Can we invite this man? They say yes. And then we write officially to the man. The man comes into the office. There are a number of times that they have come and we found out that the woman is at the wrong. And if it's something that we need to cancel them, we cancel them and say, this is where you've erred, this is where you have erred. And if it's something that's beyond our power, we can then refer them to maybe Ministry of Justice, or then they can go to court, if they think that the differences are not reconcilable. But it's not all the time that men are the abusers, but they have to speak out. That's where it starts from, speaking out.
Okay, thank you so much, Antungo. So we're wrapping up now. I'd like to bring Peter in. Peter, what would be your words of advice to people? I'd like you to also talk to people living with disability, because we need to also keep giving them that courage. It's not even easy for anyone. So like every time I go to spaces, I say, we all have some form of disability or the other, Money is also a disability on its own. So let's not say anyone is all alone. We go through a whole lot. The economy is never friendly to anyone. So just like we say, you have to, for a woman, you have to work ×3 of it all. For people with disability, you have to work ×10 to prove your point, because it's really not easy. Nobody gives you anything on a platter of gold. So Peter, as we wrap up, what would be your word of advice to people generally, parents who have children with disability? Because we still find parents who, even in this modern life, they will hush their children. When visitors come to the house, they will carry that child that is living with disability and keep the child in the room and tell the other ones, don't bring him or her out until that visitor leaves the house and all of that. So this stigma starts from small, and it affects their self-confidence. What do you have to say, Peter?
Okay, thank you very much. First and foremost, whenever I have opportunity to talk to my fellow people living with disability, I tell them the first thing: self-identification. What is the strength in your disability? Every disabled people have their strengths. You need to first of all identify your strength and build in your strength. Now, of course, for me, I don't think, sorry to say, I need people to come and tell me my relevance any longer. I have built in my strength. So the first thing first is for them to start building in their strength. Then parents, Your child that is living with a physical disability, they need your encouragement. They don't need your pity. They need your help advance them. Parent support, then also society support. Government, I think they are government should strengthen policies that can encourage or that are favorable to people living with disability. NGO space, whenever I have opportunity to say this, I always say it. We advocate for human rights. How many of us have the policy to at least hire people living with disability? Do we see them and say, this person cannot do this job? Oh? So let it start from us. Let's start encouraging people living with disability. When you do program, do you program for people living with disability? Or you just say, I am not fit for wahala? So at least when we start, the truth, when we start pushing this in the front line, then these people start getting visibility. They start knowing their worth in the society. It starts by knowing your worth. As somebody living with disability, I don't think there's anybody that will come and tell me my worth any longer. I have known my worth and I have built on it. Then also, people living with disability, you need to go to school. It starts from there. You need to go. If you have the opportunity, everybody must not go to school, yes, but if you have the opportunity to go to school, go to school. I went to Port Harcourt for a program and I saw a medical doctor living with a disability. And it was, when we engaged, I was like, wow. I saw him off to his car. He configured his car to make his disability comfortable, like because of the way the body stature is and all of that. But of course, when he goes to the hospital, he does his job diligently. He's one of the best people, doctors in Port Harcourt. That's somebody living with disability. You get it? So build in your ability. It's called disability, so it means that there's an ability in it. So society support us, family support us, and also for older people live with disability who are also married. Yes, if you can talk to a counselor, talk to a counselor. But also, you also need to know that life, your happiness, you owe nobody your happiness. Your happiness is for you. Like a few days ago, something happened on social media. I got trapped in social media where my personality was questioned. Yeah, it took a turn on me. But yesterday, I was in a bad state. But later, I thought of it. Fuck it. Everybody should believe whatever story everybody wants to believe. The side of the story you have, and you choose to believe it. Believe it. But what matters the most is my happiness. So we should learn how to prioritize our happiness with what people feel. So, Gabari, thank you very much for having me on your show. And so, Ngozi, like I told you, I've learned a lot from you today, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity.
Okay, thank you, Peter. Before you go, I will still bring in, I like to bring in Antungo to read this message, and then she too will give her own last words. Maybe you have someone you want to greet. But Antungo, if you can see this message on the screen from Aisha, please do read and respond, and then you can give your last words to anyone you want to. Aisha from Kano is writing.
Okay, Aisha Asal says, hello, Mama. Thank you for taking part in today's program. Peter, I see you. We just have to start by loving ourselves first and also learning to say enough is enough. This is from Aisha Omar from Kano State. Thank you very much, Aisha. Yes, I think that's the first thing. Once you love yourself, it's going to be very difficult for anyone to make you feel less of a human. And I was sharing with my participants yesterday at the workshop that I'm a mother of a girl, proudly a mother of a daughter. And nobody in society will make me feel bad for any reason. I feel so blessed, But I see some of my Igbo sisters, people even call me and think, I don't have male child. How am I going to live with this? And I just feel like people should just be themselves, You should just live your life and be happy. If you're in a relationship and you are constantly abused, even if you don't have a job, you have to choose between not having job and having your life. There's nothing worth dying for. If you are a woman who is very much educated, or you are not even educated, but you need assistance from civil society organizations, you reach out to them. Nigeria has a law we call Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act. We had originally sought for it to be Violence Against Women Prohibition Act, but because men kept agitating and saying we too were abused, it was turned to VAP Act. That law stipulates what should happen to people who abuse others, who and it doesn't even speak for just women. Also for men. If you are being battered, go to the nearest NGO to you. Go to the Ministry of Justice of your state. Go to the National Human Rights Commission, or you can go through a non-governmental organization and make a report. If you don't want it to be public, you state so with the NGO, and they will support you. We do not need to keep dying in silence. We've not recovered from the death of Osinachi. These are, as Peter said, is the woman I listen to her music. I really feel really refreshed and happy. But all of a sudden, this woman is no more, and we really are not interested in sending our husbands to prison or our partners. We want happy families. But if it's not working, please walk away. Thank you.
Yeah, so who would you like to say thank you to organizations who supported you? Every time we have a guest on the show, we know the kind of work they do, that they always have to rely on support mechanisms. So we'll give you 1 minute to greet people, family, friends, organizations, people who have always supported the work you do, and then we'll come to Peter to also use his 1 minute to do his, and then we'll close the show. Over to you, man.
Oh, wow. Thank you very much. So I'd like to say shout out to my daughter, Irorere Juba. I love you so much. And my husband, Adesoji Charles Juba. And then, of course, the people who fund Vision Spring Initiatives, Global Fund for Women, Amplify Change, HIVOS, and a whole lot of them that I might not even remember now. I really want to thank you. And then Ambassador Gambari for giving me this opportunity. And I do hope that women, we know when to walk away from, and men also walk away from troubled relationships, because I think our lives are more important, than those relationships. Thank you very much, Gambari, once again.
Thank you so much, Antingo. I'll bring in Peter now. Peter, your final words. Who would you like to say thank you to, organizations and people who supported the kind of work you do? Over to you.
Okay, thank you, Gabari, for having me on your show. I want to say shout out to my sweet mother. I call her Sugar. Although we are fighting currently, but it's part of bonding process. When you fight with people, give them some break. And yeah, I think she saw a video of a job I did in Lagos, and she's questioning my personality, and we are having that fight, so we're keeping it at that stage. Also, I want to say a very big thank you to one of my mentor, my support system for over 10 years, Comrade Michael Saze. The job I do would have not been possible without you. You're one in a million, and I appreciate you. I also want to appreciate one of our big partner and one of our big support, Ibrahim Hassan. Hassan has been a friend and a brother and a colleague for years. Thank you, Ibrahim, for all your support. Then the big elephant, our mother that mentored us right from the very beginning. I call her Barrister Ngozi Nwosu-Juba. She's really a big support to us. In fact, I can call her at night. She will pick my call. I'll call her anytime. She will pick my call. Even if she's in meetings, she will say, "Peter, what is the problem? I will call you later." So thank you very much, ma. We don't take all of this for granted. I also want to thank the community I serve, the key population in Nigeria. Thank you for making me one of your servants, and thank you, the good people of Plateau. The love in Plateau is massive. Gabari, thank you for all you do. I know your little effort is making way for you. We appreciate you, and we don't take you for granted. Thank you, Nigerians.
Okay, thank you so much, Peter, for that. So this is the size of the program. I want to thank everyone who's joined us. I want to thank Leroy Fraser from the US. I want to thank Osita Uzon Naji, who also sent messages from Enugu. Thanks to Asia from Germany, who also let us know that they were watching. Also to Gift, Nathaniel and Kaduna, and to everyone. The videos will still be here, so you can watch after the show. You can share it with your friends. Let's keep the conversation going. We get more views after the show because of the time zones, So 6 hours, 8 hours later, people from the US and other continents start watching and then start dropping their comments and all of that. I know I'll still bring back Antingo and then Peter to still do a part two, because sometimes we get messages later on and questions from viewers who would like some clarifications about some of the things we've also talked on the show. So I really want to thank everyone who joined us. Do remember to like all our social media handles. It is at Shagalinku TV. Thanks to everyone, and particularly thanks to all my guests. Yes, to Mrs. Ngozi Nwosu-Juba, human rights activist and programs director of Vision Spring Initiative Lagos, and also to Irorere, Peter Odion, with excellent improved reach out initiative in Plateau State. Thank you to everyone, and till we see you on the other side of the show. My name is Ambassador Emmanuel Gabari, urging you to have a blissful Friday. Enjoy the rest of your weekends. Stay blessed and touch a life. God bless you all, and bye-bye.